Koenigsegg are in a league of their own when it comes to high performance yet still road legal cars. Ever since Christian assembled his team of evil geniuses to develop the first Koenigsegg, the automotive world has viewed performance and how much you can spend on a car very differently. The CC8S won the Guinness World Record at the time for the most powerful engine in a series-produced car at 665 horsepower. Granted, just 6 were made, but it still counted nonetheless. The track-focused follow-up, the CCR, finally managed to best the McLaren F1's top speed after 8 years. With achievements like this, mere years after their founding in 1994, it's unsurprising that the company have cemented their place in automotive history. In just over 20 years since the CC8's public release, Koenigsegg have blown everyone's expectations out of the water. Despite their relatively small team, they keep innovating at a rate which is normally reserved for companies with much larger teams and budgets. In May of 2015, Koenigsegg were gearing themselves up to go for a record around the Nürburgring in the 1-1. This was going to be a part of a hypercar documentary which had been filmed for the previous 3 years. Koenigsegg and the film's production team are organising their travel over to the Nordschleife and are eagerly anticipating going for the record. They really think they've got a good chance of taking it. Then, disaster strikes. They've been banned from attempting the record. Officials were concerned the car would be too fast and dangerous, so they put a stop to it. Supposedly, the Germans didn't want the glory of the Mercedes-AMG 1, a German car, to be taken away by a superior Swedish car. Or at least that's according to the internet. There's no truth to this at all, and it's a common myth that's been going around on the internet for years at this point. Here's what really happened. Earlier in 2015, a decked-out GTR Nismo driven by Jan Mardenborough was taking part in the first race of the season. The 23-year-old from Cardiff was binning it when he approached the Quiddenbacher Hoche, which is a blind hill with a corner almost immediately after. Now, it's common for cars to get a bit of airtime here, but the GTR's jump was considerably more dramatic. In a manner very reminiscent of a Merc CLR, his car lifted off completely, flipping towards a nearby spectator area. The car landed on its roof and tragically killed a spectator and injured 2 others. The DMSB, who act as an authority in German motorsport, knew something had to be done to protect drivers and spectators. A strict speed limit of 200 km an hour was added between Hochheiken and Schwedenkreuz and 250 on the Dörtinger Strait. Since then, the limits have been lifted though, with better fencing and a road surfacing taking their place. They've also repositioned some of the spectator stands, especially around riskier bends. And that's it really. Koenigsegg were banned from getting a lap record for less than a year, and even that's a real stretch. It was still theoretically possible to get a new record, and it wasn't just Koenigsegg who were apparently banned, it was all cars. Sadly, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows for the eggs after the limits were lifted. In 2016, they finally gave it their best shot in the 1-1. The brakes locked, and the car got in a pretty sizable wreck. The driver was fine, but the car wasn't. The crash was later found to be the result of a busted ABS sensor. Although the light came on the dash, Forst, who was driving at the time, was no doubt a little too engaged in driving to notice. And that's where our story ends today. With one thing and another, Koenigsegg haven't had too much luck recently in pursuing the glorious title of Nürburgring record holders. I have no doubt if they go for it, they've definitely got at least a top 3 on their hands, if not the number 1 spot, especially with the likes of the Jesko and 2,269 horsepower Gemera. And with that, thank you so much for watching everyone. I just wanted to say a quick thank you to Bebe Sergio 1923 for the idea of this topic.